Good evening, everybody. I would like to call to order the regular meeting of the Monee Village Board of Trustees, March 22nd, 2023, 6:34 p.m. If I could please invite Mr. Charles Cooper up for the invocation.
Good evening, everyone. Let us pray. Gracious God, Father, first we just want to thank you for life, health, and strength, Lord. We just ask that you would just continue to bless us, Lord. Bless this village, Lord. We just ask that you would put a special protection around our police department, Lord, and guide them as they do their best to protect all these people within our village and the businesses and all the property, Father. Lord, we just ask that you would just bless each representative here individually, Lord. Give them and their families whatever they need and to stand in need of, Father. Lord, we just ask that you would just continue to bless this town and help us to continue to be a beacon of light that show what community truly is. Father, we just thank you and we praise you. In Jesus' name I pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Present.
Trustee Horn.
Here.
Trustee Henson.
Present.
Trustee Rakes.
Present.
Trustee Wilson.
Present.
Trustee Udris.
Present.
Open to the public, agenda items only. Moving on to the consent agenda, may I please have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Henson.
Yes.
Trustee Rakes.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Udris.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
And moving on to the clerk's report.
Thank you, Mayor Bogues. Just want to let everyone know that early voting is underway here at Village Hall. There are still 3 days left for you to be able to come and get your sticker when you're done. That is Thursday, March 23rd from 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Friday 24th from 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and Saturday, March 25th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. There have been the very first day was a pretty nice turnout compared to how we normally are for early voting in the off the consolidated election. So look forward to seeing more smiles and faces. End of report.
Thank you. Under my report, just a couple of cleanup items for the fiscal year budget 23-24. The first one would be discussion approval. This was omitted from the last meeting when we went through everybody's cost of living increases, and that would be for the deputy chief 3% annual pay raise. It is on that ordinance. It's just we did not discuss it. So if I could please have a
I'll make that motion.
thank you.
Second.
And then any discussion on that at all? Roll call, please.
Trustee Henson.
Yes.
Trustee Rakes.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Udris.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Then item number 2, same thing is relating to salary expense, discussion/approval of an additional week of vacation for the administrator, police chief, finance director, paid compensation for vacation. So if I can have a motion,
I'll make that motion.
Second.
and any discussion on that?
That was an extra week instead of the cost of living.
Correct.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Rakes.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Udris.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Henson.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. The first item under my report is to introduce Frank Helligan from Homewood Disposal, and as he's coming forward, as the board is aware, but to let the public know that our contract for our waste disposal services will be coming to an end at the end of May. And so we have asked Homewood Disposal to come and present themselves and provide an overview of their company, introduce themselves, and be open for any questions the board may have. Without further ado, Mr. Helligan.
Mr. Batiste, I appreciate the opportunity to come here and speak to you for just a few minutes. We appreciate the invite and the opportunity to submit a proposal to the village to haul the garbage beginning July 1 for the village of Monee. As some of you may know, we were a hauler here for many, many years, probably close to 20 years. When we purchased Star Disposal in 1993, I believe Star Disposal was hauling it before then, and then we serviced the community until 2013. And it was a bid situation there, so it's the only reason why we lost it is just because of price. It wasn't service or anything like that. So we're happy to be back, and we appreciate that. I just wanted to just take a few minutes, just give you a little brief history of Homo Disposal, who we are, what services we provide, and a little bit about our company. Homo Disposal was started by Wendell Yonker in 1956. He just celebrated his 99th birthday, still alive, still quite healthy. Third generation family owns it. Right now we've grown this company to over 200 trucks, service over 150,000 homes a week, primarily only on the south side of Illinois, the southern suburbs. This is right in the middle where we're at. Surrounding towns being University Park. We service, Tinley Park, Oak Forest. I mean, we have 36 communities in the area that we service. And Frankfurt, towns like that. So we're very excited to have this opportunity to return once again and to be able to submit a proposal for your consideration. I think some of the things that are very important about us is the family culture that we have. We're a large privately owned company, probably one of the largest in the state of Illinois. But we're still that small home field. We invest heavily on customer service. We're residents who call in. They don't go to a database. They go to a person. They go to our residential dispatch, or they go to our customer service based in Homewood, Illinois. With our equipment, our trucks, and our knowledge of Monee really gives us the experience. Our general manager, who's been with the company for 35 years, he knows this town, like the back of his hand. We have 2 operation supervisors who are also here, so we know the community. So as far as having a new hauler in town, if we were fortunate to be awarded this contract, we would pick up where we left off, really, is where we were at. The only thing different you would see are different style trucks, and you would see all trucks run on natural gas. Natural gas is probably the best thing to happen in our industry in the last 10 to 15 years. Clean burning, quiet, and we have lots of natural gas. So you don't have the diesel, the smell. And right now, over 90% of our fleet is natural gas. Only a few spares we have left run on diesel anymore. So we're pretty proud of that. We have our own public fill station. We have a fill station in Park Forest. We have a yard in Park Forest, Homewood, Joliet, Kankakee. We also own a company in Jenison, Michigan, and we own a company in Lafayette, Indiana. So as a family-owned company, this company we just purchased in Lafayette, we just purchased 3 months ago. So excited to continue to grow. So it was a lot of excitement. We got third generation. They want to keep the business going and growing. So it's a really exciting company to work for. Just a few things that I would like to just point out. Some of the issues that we have learned with the current service and collections. I think the number one complaint you'll probably hear, and it's not abnormal in any community, is blowing debris, like recycling material. Some of your areas out here are windy. You get front loaders out here that dump the recycling and the garbage over the top. You get a complaint with there's blowing debris. So one thing that Homo Disposal has invested in are side load trucks. And I will be giving everyone a picture of what they look like. And this is something that we're going to be happy to bring into this town. It's a truck that literally picks up the recycling, and dumps it inside the truck. So it's not going over the top. It really reduces, almost eliminates the blowing of debris. And we know that in Monee here, and that was a concern in a lot of our towns. So we invested in these side load trucks for recycling. Garbage we want bagged. We don't have the blowing as bad in the garbage trucks. Those are front loaders. But recycling, we want the recycling to be loose. We don't want them in plastic bags. So we encourage residents to have their recycling loose. So then we invested in these trucks. These trucks are more money than a front loader. We just ordered 10 more trucks, and we finally hit the $500,000 mark per truck. is what they cost these days. So, but for the side loaders, it's a good investment because, again, it's for community relations. It reduces the phone calls of littering, if you will, on a windy day. I can't control wind, but I can control the truck that we use to help prevent the blowing of debris, and I know that's a concern in a lot of our communities, including Monee. So that's the main thing. One thing with when we start July 1, all residents will get new carts. They get a garbage cart, they get a recycling cart. All our carts are going to be dark forest green, will be a different color lid to identify recycling and garbage. Residents have the option to rent a yard waste cart if they want one, but that also is unlimited collection. Otherwise, they put them in bags and paper bags and bundles. So I think the aesthetic appeal with the new carts that we have with the forest green color, that is something that residents like to see. They don't want a pink cart, a yellow cart, something that's a real loud colored cart. We want to go forest green on those. So I think that's important to point out as well. I think, just in closing, and I'd like to open it for questions because I love taking questions, and I know you all may have a few, and I do have some things about our company in a bag here for you that I will hand to you when I'm finished. Is the one thing I've learned about this company. I worked in the North Shore for a family-owned company that sold to a public company. The company's name was Groot, Groot. I worked there for 25 years. When they sold, the Yonker family called me at Home Disposal, and just to have that at-home touch where you can be one of the largest companies in the area, but also have that small company feel. You can call me, you got my cell phone, call me direct. It's not now you got to deal with these people over here and you got to call this call center here. So there's a different feel with our company as far as Home Disposal is concerned. So on that note, I'll open it up to questions. If there's anything maybe I missed, I did want to touch on the equipment, on the carts, the service. We did propose to split up the town over 2 days. If we're fortunate enough to be given the chance to provide a service, we'll provide those 2 days for you. So just not sure what 2 days those would be. We'll split the town right in half. Our goal would try to keep it keep half the town on Friday and Thursday, split it in half so that you only have to re-educate half the residents for a different day. But that's not etched in stone. So that's one thing that, when we get to that point, we would definitely come back to Mr. Batista and let him know what those 2 days are. But it definitely would be over the 2-day period. We would service the community. Not all week. We're not going to be here 5 days a week. But we can split the town over 2 days, and they'd be consecutive days. So on that end, I would open up to any questions anyone might have. Yes, sir.
2 questions for you. If you give us new garbage carts, what do you do? Take the old ones?
They're the property of your current vendor.
Okay.
They would take those, yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then, forest garbage is every week. Recycling, would you say is that every other week?
Every other week with a 95-gallon cart every other week. So you got 95 for garbage, if I misspoke, 95 for recycling every other week. There would be an option for residents to get a smaller garbage cart. Residents who are singles or just couples or seniors, if they want a smaller cart, we would make that option to them. Sometimes those big 95-gallon carts are just too much for someone living by themselves, for a couple, so we'd make that available to them at no charge.
Do you ever do recycling every week?
We do.
Okay.
We do. It just costs more. We've learned that 95-gallon carts every other week is sufficient. When you start looking at carbon footprints, you start looking at times, trucks, hours, man hours, truck hours, it does increase the cost. And one thing I will say is consistent in this industry, we have seen some significant increases in cost in the last 2-3 years, just from inflation. But in 2018, our garbage trucks were $180,000 less. We have a union contract coming up. All of us have a union contract coming up in October. Those are things that we're expecting, with what the rate of inflation's been. We're going to see cost increases. So what we like to do is offer the every other week service to your question and try to keep that cost down. And it seems it's currently the program today in Monee, so I think it's working. If a resident, one thing that Home Disposal will do, and I'll make this point to you, We like to keep you every other week for all the reasons I just said, but if there is let's say a family, and they generate lots of recycling, we would give them a second 95-gallon cart for no charge. That is something we've done in other communities. I would do the same thing here. So let's say hey, I got lots of recycling. I'll get you a second cart. We'll provide that to you just to keep, because there's only going to be a certain percentage of residents who would want a second 95-gallon cart for recycling. But if you do want one, I get one to you. And then we'll keep the service every other week and still give the capacity of recycling to the resident. Yep.
Same question for garbage. 2 carts for recycling. What about for garbage?
Well, the garbage is weekly, right? So there's always a second cart option. Usually those are rented if they want a second 95-gallon cart. Standard industry is a monthly rental or an annual rental fee. It ranges from $36 to $48 a year, $4 a month, and they can rent a second cart if they want one. We want to keep residents, everyone's doing real well with the carts. We like the automation. We pay extra for the automated systems. Reduces lifting injuries, back injuries, shoulder injuries. We all know what workman's comp is, right? So we invest on equipment to do automated lifting. So I'd rather have them have more carts than me dump a cart and empty 5 cans outside of it every week, right? So, that's always available to them. And we would mirror what residents currently have, especially with the 65-gallon carts for residents who only need 65 gallons a week capacity for garbage for the weekly collection. So.
Couple questions here. You mentioned that for lawn refuge that we would have to rent
It's an
a
option.
cart for that as an option. What if residents wanted to use, had their own can and wanted to use their own can?
I think the current program now is we encourage the biodegradable 33-gallon bags that you buy at the hardware store, at, Lowe's or Home Depot, and bundles. That's, I believe, the current program. Some communities will allow residents to use a 33-gallon Rubbermaid can. They just have to identify it. They got to put a big bumper sticker on it that says this is yard waste. So otherwise, the garbage guy stop every week. He's gonna be flipping a lid, and you don't want to do that either. So we would consider that. We like the bags because for identification, we have less misses. If the driver thinks, last week there was garbage in that Rubbermaid, now there's yard waste, you don't know. But so everyone has to stop and look inside that can.
Now, for like the paper bags and all that, would they have to have stickers for those?
No.
Like I know some towns do.
No.
Okay.
No, the program here was for unlimited yard waste.
Okay.
That's what we propose. So they can put as many bags out as they want a week with bundles tied up in 4-foot lanes and just size. Everything's about the safety of the driver. So we want 4-foot length bundles so we don't have drivers get hurt. They can safely lift it and put it in the truck. So, safety first on that. But it's unlimited yard waste.
Okay, and then the second question that I had was in terms of larger items that people have that they want to dispose of that maybe don't fit into the carts themselves. What's the policy for that? If you have it out there, will they take it?
Yes.
Do you need special pickup?
It's an unlimited program, so you can put it out, we'll pick it up. What we encourage residents to do is to give us one bulk item per week. If you get a whole new front dining room set, don't give us the table, the chairs, the couches, and everything. And but if it's out there, we'll find it. We'll get it picked up. We do. I'm not going to leave it behind. But we do encourage residents one bulk item per week. We'll take it if it's a mattress, if it's a couch, if it's a chair, or something like that. Absolutely, that's included in there. The only thing that is extra are. Right now we battle. Probably our biggest challenge in this industry right now is electronic waste. TVs are brutal. I mean, it's just, we can't take it anywhere where you pick it up. We have to charge a lot of money because there's only 2 processors that will do it, and they charge you by the pound. Some of the old TVs that are in wood cabinets, they charge me 83 cents a pound. I mean, it's like $2,000 a ton. I mean, so it's really difficult. And we do have the service. We provide it. Residents have to call in for it. We'll pick it up. Appliances, same thing. Appliances are banned in landfills as well, but usually a scrapper will grade it long before we do, so it's not usually an issue, for appliances. But other than that, we can pick everything up. The only thing we can't pick up is household hazardous waste. And that's pretty standard in the industry.
Speaking of safety of the driver, are all the trucks have one driver? Oh, it's one per driver, they don't travel in pairs?
The recycling and the garbage will always be right side steer, one side of the road for safety. We don't do both sides. The only time you'd possibly see yard waste is a yard waste truck. Especially if it's a fall time, whatever, you may see two workers, if you will.
So
on a
if there
rear-wheel truck.
is like an oversized item that would be, a team lift or something,
Mhm.
can a driver just do that, or will he call for backup?
He
to-
can call it in. We'll have a stake truck out here, a flat truck with a lift on if we have to. But these guys at the end of the day, they'll come back, they may put a note on and say, we'll come back at the end of the day. When they call in for notes, and a couple trucks will go there and they'll lift it.
Or
Yeah,
if we
especially
call
if it's like a hide-a-bed or something, yeah, those can be very heavy.
Or if we call ahead of time and say, I'll have an oversized item, would they notate that and say?
Absolutely.
This address is going to have a
We would
big,
appreciate that. We would appreciate that, and we put a note, because the stake truck's gonna be out here, the 2 days we're out here, there's gonna be a stake truck out here. He's gonna be doing the special pickups. He's gonna be picking up, if somebody throws out a hot tub, we'll take it. We just gotta get it on a flatbed truck. It'll take 2 guys to slide on the ramp lift and get it out of there. Those may be an extra charge, which is common sense, right? I mean, there's just, some things are just gonna be really, really heavy. But no, if they call us ahead of time, we encourage that. They can talk to our customer service, and we'll put a note up on the driver's route for that. Absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing we can't, with over 150,000 homes serviced a week, home and disposal, I mean, we pride ourselves. And I'm gonna handle some literature just to show you what I thought it would be good. I'll show you the trucks we have, and I'll leave you with that. But like this book here, it's a welcome book. We give this to our drivers, and we put them in orientation. But it also shows you about our company. It shows you about our education process. It shows you about, we have a full-time marketing team. And we have Megan, who actually goes to schools, and she does recycling. There's pictures of that in here as well. She'll go to schools in Monee, and she will educate the children, because we learned that if you educate the children about good recycling, they'll take it home with them. And they'll tell their parents, don't throw those cans away, and the aluminum and the plastic. So, we pride ourselves in the community outreach. We pride ourselves in parades. You'll see pictures in here of our garbage trucks that we dress up for 4th of July. We do a lot for the community as well, and we pride ourselves in that. So, yeah, and any other questions?
Yes, Frank. With the unlimited garbage, does that include garbage bags outside of the can?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Is that an additional cost, or is that included?
No, it's unlimited. It's an
Okay.
unlimited collection
Just
program.
making sure.
Yep. Now, I think COVID taught us all, there was a period of time there where some of my competitors, they wouldn't take any garbage outside of the cart. If it couldn't be picked up with automation, they would leave it behind. We never did that. We talked to our drivers about it, right, being in COVID. It's kind of a weird times, and we asked them, they said, we'd rather just grab the garbage outside the carts, because we're gonna have to get it sometime. There's gonna be a day in the future we will have to grab this. So they all agreed unanimously, we're just gonna pick everything up. But I think at the same token, residents have really learned, if you got garbage, try to get it all in that cart. Get it all in that cart, and try not to have any extras. Even if the lid's open, put those 3 bags on top, and let's use the automation. But no, if there's anything outside the cart, by all means, we will take it. We won't leave anything behind. The only thing we leave behind is paint, oil, engine blocks, some crazy stuff that you see out there, but we'll put a note on it. Usually a phone call will go to the village. Hey, heads up, 123 Main Street had all this out there, just to make the village aware as well. And that's usually appreciated, and that'll probably come through me. So I'm always aware of situations like that. Or if it's a continual homeowner who abuses the system, and then 99 times out of 100, the village goes, oh yeah, we know. But we would, hey, heads up, So that's what I do. That's my job as liaison between the company and the village. So.
With your electronics recycled, what is the average cost on, like, say, an average size flat screen TV?
I mean, right now what we're doing, and there are programs and some that can be negotiated. We do have programs, and we do allow residents to throw away up to 2 TVs per year. So when we deliver the carts, we're going to track all the addresses and the serial numbers of that cart, and we're going to put them in our database. So we know where you live, all right? We don't know your name. We know you live at 123 Main Street. We'll allow you 2 TVs per year. And then when we pick up that 1 TV, then you can throw away, give me all your gaming systems, all your old VCRs, DVD players. We'll take it all. Anything with a cord, just throw it out there at the same time. And that can be included in the rate. I can't remember right now if we included it in this rate or not, something we'd have to talk about. If it's not included in the village contract, we charge $35 to come to your house and $35 per TV. And then we'll take any other items that you have. So yeah, if you got a TV, it's gonna be $70. It's just, And trust me, nobody's making money at that. It's just the cost of getting rid of these TVs now and these monitors.
So what about hosting a community event to collect all of this electronics collection?
There's drop-off events. A lot of communities will do.
Would you help us host one?
Anything, we can talk about anything, but we love to help out. I mean, but for all means, if the village was to host one, we would provide you the recycling dumpsters, the garbage dumpsters, and we would help you with all that. Sometimes municipalities will do shredding events for paper shredding, and then they tie it in with an e-waste event. Sometimes they're bold enough to do a household hazardous waste event, but that can get really expensive. Like you hit your 6-digit numbers real quick. But if you just do e-waste and shredding, so those seem to be popular in other communities as well. All things that we can discuss. We've done it all, or at least assisted in it. But that has been a popular option, to just do an event and have people bring their TVs, have residents bring their TVs to you, and just go from there. And then there's companies that will come out. They'll do in Village Hall right here. They'll set up cones. They pull in. They'll shrink wrap it, and then they'll charge you by what they get. They get 2 semi-loads, you get 1 bill. If they don't get a whole lot, they'll give you another bill. But there are companies that'll come out and do that. And I would help with that, facilitate that for you. Done it before.
I don't have a question. I just got a statement. I manage a trucking company, and we have done business with Homewood Disposal, both in Homewood and Joliet, over the years and everything. All I know is everybody that we've dealt with was a class act. We got our money, we got paid, they got their stuff, and there was never any hiccups. Just my 2 cents of knowledge that I know about Homewood.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Helligan.
No problem. I'm gonna let me distribute this out. I'm gonna give everyone one of these. I got some more literature up here I can leave behind. We have coloring books, for the kids. But let me give you guys one of these, and then I will leave you be. So let me give you a picture of this here. So I do appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank
I do
you.
appreciate that a lot.
As he's passing it out, so for board information, at our next meeting, April 12th, Republic Services will also do a presentation and do an overview of their history and the services provided. We probably will sit on this, talk internally, and then bring it either at the end of April or the 1st of May to a vote.
Yeah, I'll leave it behind.
Thank you.
But I'll leave the rest of it in your locker. It'll help us all. There's an educational one, what we do with school classrooms for preschoolers. Some of the literature we mail out or stuff for holidays. Just communication stuff that we do. So I think we'll show you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Okay.
That's Wendy Yonker. That's we just turned 99. So I will leave these out. Feel free to give these back. If you want, give them back to me. Public can take them. If I can leave them here, if that's okay.
Yes, sir. That's fine.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, under next item on my report is Dana West for Robinson Engineering. And Dana is here tonight to talk about and this is a long one, National Pollution Discharge Elimination Systems, or better known as NPDES. The program regulates storm runoff through sewers, ditches, creeks, and streams. And this is an IEPA program that is used to enforce regulation under the Clean Water Act. So, Ms. West, it is all yours.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you for having me here today. My name is Dana. I work with Robinson. I handle a handful of different communities and helping them with their stormwater compliance programs. And this is a pretty extensive program. We are required to report once a year, talk about it, have a meeting in a public forum like this, provide a little education for anybody who happens to be here tonight, and provide an opportunity for questions. It's a pretty extensive program, so I'm going to move relatively quickly, but please do ask me some questions if you have any along the way. NPDS, National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, that is what it stands for. It's quite a mouthful. Engineers like to use a lot of acronyms, so we just say NPDES. Informally, we call it Stormwater Compliance Program. And we're talking about stormwater here. We're talking about stormwater quality, not stormwater quantity. So what does that really mean? We're trying to prevent and eliminate pollutants in your stormwater systems. So from a big picture standpoint, these are your main waterways that are within the village. You've got a handful of different creeks that are all regulated. These are the state water bodies that they're looking at and checking in on. So those are the ones that we're really keeping an eye on. But on the local level and from a staff level, we're talking about storm sewers and ditches and ponds and all of the things that we can have some sort of effect on as a municipality on a daily basis. So why? So we've already mentioned the Clean Water Act. That came from the US EPA in the 1970s, and that then gets distributed down to the states. And in Illinois, the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency is the one that enforces these requirements here. And since 2003, at the local level, all communities are required to do a whole long list, over 20 pages in the permit of things that we're supposed to do. We use this term MS4s, that stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, and so we just say MS4s. So that's municipalities that have any sort of authority over ditches, creeks, whether we're permitting them, maintaining them, holding them in our right-of-ways. Those are the systems that comprise of our entire stormwater system. So MS4 is sometimes referred to as a municipality, and sometimes it's the actual physical stormwater system itself. Within this permit, there are 6 main categories of things that all MS4s are supposed to do. We operate under what we call a general permit. So every MS4 has the same long list of this 20-page document, all these conditions that are all supposed to be the same. But the beauty of a stormwater system is that it is allowed to be customized within your community for what makes sense. What kind of infrastructure do you have here? What kind of staffing levels do you have here? What is your resources for mapping, for example? It's all custom based on what we have in this particular location. I'm going to go through examples of different things that we are doing here in Monee under each of these categories. The first category is called public education and outreach. One of the easiest things, and it is a requirement, is to make sure that we have a stormwater page on the website. Village of Monee does have that. We have been helping with making additions. Your website has taken some new looks recently, and so the stormwater page as well. There are a handful of things that are supposed to be on there, so there's some clickable links on there of not super exciting materials, but that's because that's what IEPA asks us to put on there, and they also ask us to put some outreach materials on there, like this nice graphic on there about talking about only put rain in the drain. So there are some other educational pieces on there too. We've also used the newsletter here to put some information out. So if you're wondering why we always have something in the newsletter about something about stormwater, it's because we're supposed to. And we can cover a multitude of topics. There's a lot of different ideas within the permit as far as what makes sense to do. And so here's just an example of a few things that are somewhat popular, but those can always be customized. You can always provide specific ideas through a committee or just some crazy idea. We can always go ahead and do that. The village has also started to use social media too to do that, which is great. A lot of communities are doing that now that it's 2023 and everything's going very digital. The second category is very, very similar. It's called public participation, and so that's when we actually get folks engaged and involved in doing something. Right now, technically, this is public participation because you're all listening to the few things that I'm teaching you about MS4 programs. And it is an annual requirement. During COVID, things kind of took a slowdown and IEPA wasn't really enforcing it, but as IEPA is back out and about again after COVID, they have made sure that everybody moves forward with their public meetings. So here we are. Public participation can also be a multitude of different ideas, and it can be customized to what you have going on. If there's a Boy Scout group who's working on a creek cleanup or something, of course, we take credit for those kinds of things. We just need to collect information about what that is, when it is, a little bit of documentation for that. But the other more community-wide examples of things that we do, it's kind of an interesting coincidence. I'm here on a night when you're talking to a waste hauler because branch cleanup is one of those things that IEPA likes to hear about, and making sure there are opportunities for collection of things that people don't want in their homes anymore. So if we're talking about, community garage sales, this reuse idea, also talking about hazardous wastes, through Will County, there's opportunities to do these specialty waste cleanups under the premise that if it's getting picked up and collected of disposed properly, it's not going to end up in the creeks or somewhere you don't want it. The third category is a mouthful. It's called illicit discharge detection and elimination. Illicit discharge basically means anything in the stormwater that you don't want in the stormwater at all. It's pollution. It can be an illegal connection, anything that's not supposed to be there. And one of the main components of this part of the program is your mapping system. And so we've got a lot of mapping efforts going on. Here's just a little snapshot of my storm sewer atlas, and nothing too robust. But there are a lot of different pieces and data and things that can be layered into the GIS, as you all know. One of the main aspects of the illicit discharge parts of the program is the outfall inspections. So these are all different outfalls, and these are not Monee. And these are this is what you don't want to see. I thought I'd find something interesting. So basically, this is supposed to happen on a regular basis. We look at some of them annually, some of them on rotation every few years. If you see something orange or something sudsy coming out of an outfall, that's a problem. So you probably need to, get somebody out there to look at it. And then the intention is that you figure out where that problem's coming from, remove that, hopefully get cooperation from the property owner. Otherwise, you get into some sort of enforcement procedures to take care of that. Those are kind of extreme pictures, but makes it a little bit more interesting. And then that bottom picture shows a little bit of erosion, so that's one of those things that ties into this too. Something else to keep an eye on with these regular inspections and make sure those repairs can happen routinely. I already mentioned removal procedures and enforcement. Again, we have a process in place and ordinances that allow us to fine people if we need to, if they're not, correcting a problem. But usually we try to talk to people and make that work out. Kind of on a friendly basis. And this slide here has got a picture of maybe your next public works, person taking records, because that's the other part of this is we need a lot of documentation on all of these things that are going on. The fourth category is called construction site runoff control. So any project that comes in to the village that's going to go under construction, there's a whole process that needs to happen, whether it's one that you're paying for or developers coming in and paying for. We have to go through your local ordinances and the county ordinances and make sure that everything is compliant with elements of soil erosion and sediment control. Plans get reviewed before they get permitted. There is a permit at the state level that also needs to be obtained for anything that's more than 1 acre of disturbance. You probably have all seen this, especially driving into the meeting today. So you see lots of things, fun things going on around town here. So there's control measures. You see that silt fence, right? We're trying to keep all that sediment in the construction zone and not getting on sidewalks and not getting in the roads and definitely not getting in the storm sewers. And as part of the construction controls, we also have to do regular inspections as part of the process to make sure that everything is in place where it's supposed to be, and if it needs to be maintained after a big event or gets knocked over, that those inspections will continue to uphold the intent of that program and keep the sediment out of the sewers and the curbs and the roads. The fifth category is called post-construction runoff control. So if you think about that construction site, what happens when the construction is done? So anything that's going to be changed, developed, constructed, the goal is that after construction, you're going to have the same or better water quality than what you had started with. So how do we do that? Here's a few very common techniques that I listed on this slide so you can preserve natural features like floodplain and wetlands. So there's a lot of synergy in the different regulatory requirements as far as keeping some of those areas undisturbed. You control the volume and the velocity of runoff, and a lot of times you'll see that happening in detention ponds and retention ponds. So again, a lot more bang for your buck for those detentions, not just the flooding, but also helping your stormwater quality. There's a lot of talk under this program too, as far as encouraging infiltration and stormwater reuse and evapotranspiration, along word that you've probably heard more like green infrastructure. So things that will actually treat the stormwater as a resource and not just a waste. The other part of post-construction is making sure that all of these features that come into the sites will actually be inspected and maintained over the duration of time. So the pond inspections, I already mentioned that. Other best management practices, that's just another term I like to throw out there, similar to the green infrastructure, so things like a bioswale or permeable pavers. You'll see, again, treating of the stormwater before it just gets collected and discharged. So the final category is called pollution prevention and good housekeeping, and this is part of what keeps your public works staff very, very busy and keeping things up to the requirements of this program. And basically, they need to control pollutants within the municipal properties, in the infrastructure, and the operations and things that they're working with. So one example is their fleet maintenance. You can't just like dump the oil down the drain. You have to make sure you're washing it in the garage where the wash water is going to get collected, not going down the storm sewer. So there's a lot of things to be very cognizant of, small things that make a big difference. Grounds maintenance, there's a whole document of standard operating procedures and things that need to happen, and how do we do this and how do we do that, making sure that everything is contained. And again, we're trying to prevent any pollution as much as we can. I listed a few examples on there. And from an infrastructure standpoint, the most common operations that have a direct effect on the storm systems here is street sweeping, storm basin cleaning, so that's when they actually use the vac truck and get, the gunk out of there that nobody wants to see, and collect that and have that disposed of in a landfill. And then also inspecting storm sewers. So if there's a suspect of a problem where there might be a collapse or a break or something, trying to make sure that gets repaired before more soil will actually fall into that sewer and then go downstream. And it's harder to clean it up. It's better to prevent the problem as opposed to trying to clean it up later. So, and as I said, those are a lot of just a summary of the things that your public works staff are doing under that category. I could probably give you a whole hour about pollution prevention, but we won't do that. A few other interesting elements or required elements of the program is documentation. I think I've said that word a couple times already today. IEPA likes to see records. They want to have evidence, if you will, as far as what's been going on. So that's one of the things that I help public works staff and other staff put together paperwork and creating forms and what is the best way to document certain things. So that's one of the things that we've been helping out with. We do have an annual report due every year, June 1st. So that's basically collecting all these documents, assembling them, and getting them over to EPA. Periodically, we have inspections with IEPA, which is when a IEPA staff member will come out to the village and ask to see lots of paperwork. They will take a walk around the public works area. They will also drive around town to see if there's any construction sites. So it's kind of like your final exam where they're looking for anything and everything that they can and try to help the village with moving their program forward. We did have one of those not too long ago, just a couple months ago, I think, and we passed with flying colors, so yay. There is a permit. The permit cycle is 5 years, and we are actually due for a new permit here any day now. IEPA is a little bit behind with that, so we're still operating under permit conditions that came out in 2016. So at some point, by the time I come here next year, there may be some slightly different things in the program that we're required to do, but we'll help you through that. Not my first time going through a permit update, so we'll help you figure it out, whatever those changes will bring. So in summary, NPDS program is keeping the stormwater systems as clean as we can with the resources that we have here. So with that, that's a very fast, quick and overview of the whole program. So if anybody has any questions, be happy to hear them.
Okay, just to reiterate, this is our annual public meeting
Correct.
doing this, so we got one under our belt.
That's correct.
Yeah, very,
Okay.
yeah. That's awesome.
Well, thank you again for having me here. And if you have any questions at any time, your staff has, become well versed in all of this. Otherwise, you can certainly reach out to me or Jeff anytime.
Thank you. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
Nicely done. Thank you. Okay, moving along. Next item under my report is Industrial Drive Sanitary and Water Project, pay request number 8. The village has recently received partial pay request number 8 from Aries Inc. for work completed on this project. Staff and Robinson Engineering have reviewed the invoice and determined that it is in substantial compliance with the plans and specifications, and therefore we recommend that Aries Inc. is entitled to pay request number 8 in the amount of $57,273.60 as summarized below. Total earned to date is $1,432,170.33, less the 5% retention of $71,608.51 for a subtotal of $1,360,561.82, less the previous billing of $1,303,288.22. So the amount due this pay request, which is a partial pay request, $57,273.60. Board action request is a motion to approve pay request number 8 to Aries Inc. in the amount of $57,273.60.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion on this at all? Roll call, please.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Next item is the 2022 Monee Roadway Maintenance Project, Iroquois Paving Pay Request Number 3, which is the final pay request. The village has recently received the final pay request number 3 from Iroquois Paving Corporation for work completed on this project. Staff and Robinson Engineering have reviewed the invoice and determined it's in substantial compliance with plans and specifications, and therefore we recommend that Iroquois Paving Corporation is entitled to their final pay request number 3 for this project in the amount of $133,017.25 as summarized below. Total earned to date is $1,251,935.48, less the previous payment of $1,118,918.23. The amount due this pay request, which is a final $133,017.25. Board action request is a motion to approve the final pay request number 3 to Iroquois Paving Corporation in the amount of $133,017.25.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
So we're done with this one. This one's paid off. That's always good to see.
Yes, sir.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. And the last item, my report, is a lease agreement, Batterman Farms, for parcel 1, approximately 20 acres, parcel 2, approximately 5 acres, and parcel 3, approximately 90 acres. Mr. Les Batterman Jr. has requested to enter into a lease agreement with the Village of Monee to farm approximately 20 acres on parcel 1, 5.4 acres, parcel 2, and approximately 90 acres on parcel 3 of property owned by the village. Parcel 1 is located at Monee Manhattan Road and bordered by Egyptian Trail and Illinois Route 50 Governor's Highway. Parcel 2 is located on Illinois Route 50 Governor's Highway and bordered by Egyptian Trail and Industrial Drive. Parcel 3 is located on South Egyptian Trail at Watson's Cutoff. The terms of the lease agreement would be as follows. Purpose would be to solely plant and harvest crops. Rental amount is $1 per parcel. Lease agreements would begin on April 1st, 2023 through December 30th, 2023, unless terminated by mutual agreement. Tenant to provide a certificate of liability naming the village's additional insured in the amount of $1 million and 0 cents. The action requested is a motion to authorize the mayor to sign the lease agreement with Mr. Lester Batterman of Batterman Farms for parcel 1, 2, and 3 in the amount of $1 per parcel.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
And I think, just so everybody knows, this is something not unusual that Mr. Bannerman comes to us every year, so this is, not something out of the ordinary for us to see.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakes?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. End
Thank
of my
you.
report.
Moving on to the officials' reports. Public Works Trustee Horn.
Good evening, everyone. Monday, March 7th, the Court Street Bridge repairs will start. The bridge will be closed approximately 3 to 4 weeks, and there will be detour signs, so proceed with caution on that. You may have also noticed that the concrete pad for the park building was pulled out and taken out last week, and that's going to be poured next week. And then once this is completed, then the exterior walls on the park building will be replaced, and contractors will replace the bricks there. After that, June 3rd, the Court Street Water Main Project is starting. This will also be the week the park will be having work done, so there'll be a lot of work going on. Please be aware of the workers and proceed with caution. Public Works is hiring for their seasonal workers, and I think they need about 6 people for that. I could be wrong on the exact amount, but it's a nice job outdoors, 7 to 3, Monday through Friday. I may apply for it myself. That sounds really fun at this point in my life. End of report.
Thank you.
Oh, they said you're more than you can volunteer. They're looking for volunteers, yes.
Moving on to Parks and Recreation, Trustee Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor. This is quite extensive. There's a lot going on in Parks and Recreation, if you haven't noticed. So first and foremost, the Parks and Recreation Director would like to welcome Kevin Battles, who has been hired as our newest Parks and Recreation Supervisor. Kevin comes to us from an extensive experience in the recreational field, including Director of Activities. He's coached baseball, softball, basketball with AAU and Solid College Prep varsity team, and umpire for both baseball and softball, Boys and Girls Club, et cetera, et cetera. So obviously to say we are very, very lucky to have our new Parks and Rec Supervisor, Kevin. So say welcome, welcome, welcome. Last week was our senior luncheon. We had a great time, 65 pounds of corned beef, cabbage, carrots, Irish soda bread, and entertained by Tall Paul. Next up is for our seniors is senior prom, those 55 years young and up. Registration being taken at Village Hall for a fee of $10 per person. Heck of a lot cheaper than our senior prom. The event will be held at Golf Vista on April 28th from 6 to 9 p.m. And staff is very excited about that one too. Guess who's hopping into town is the Easter Bunny. First is a pancake breakfast with the Easter Bunny at Shoop's, Saturday, April 1st from 8 to 11. Adults are $8, kids are $6. And you can get pictures with the Easter Bunny. And tickets can be purchased right at Shoop's. Our annual community egg hunt will be at the sponsored with Monee Alliance of Churches on Saturday, April 8th, the day before Easter. Yes. And Pooch Picks with the Bunny will happen outside near the historical building from 9:30 to 10:30. Then inside the park building for donuts and refreshments at 10, and the egg hunt starts at 10:30 a.m., rain or shine. And thank you to Mac for donating the winning Easter basket prizes once again. And tomorrow here at the Village Hall at 5 p.m. is the first of a series of meetings for the 150th birthday party of Monee. We'll start tomorrow at 5 p.m. Encourage everyone, businesses, organizations, schools to be a part of that year-long celebration that we will have next year, 5 p.m. tomorrow. and it's called, the sesquicentennial, say that 5 times fast, can be a great opportunity to draw attention to Monee and all we have to offer. End of report.
Awesome, thank you. Moving on to finance, trustee Rakis.
There's no report.
Awesome. Keeps it going, right? Economic development, trustee Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Under Project Unite Monee, we got enterprise zone hearing took place and was successful. The next steps will be taken in creating our enterprise zone. Potential business, Economic Development Director Bill Barnes is currently continuing to meet with prospective new businesses and developers with a focus on Monee Hatton Road. We'd like to say congratulations to Dunkin' Donuts, and they had a successful grand opening at 5757 West Monee, Manhattan on March 17th. If you haven't had an opportunity to check them out, do so. I highly encourage you. It's pretty awesome to have that location there. Freestanding, a little sit room, so check them out. Under Project Magnify Monee, beautification project, Director Barnes is moving forward with planning the village's green space areas and anticipating getting started soon. As trustee had mentioned, Gonzalez, about our 150th birthday meeting, the meeting will be held here tomorrow. So for those who are available or can make it, please do so, because we always need input. We always need volunteers, or some people say victims, right? So as always, shop Monee when available. End of report, Mayor.
Thank you. Building Services, trustee Henson.
No report at this time, Madam Mayor.
All right. Public Safety, trustee Udris.
Thank you, Mayor. For emergency management, on March 13th, they assisted South Holland EMA to secure a perimeter for a police emergency. On 3/15, they assisted Parks with traffic control for their senior breakfast. And much planning and signage has been done for the Court Street bridge closure, so the village is ready for any adjustments to the plan if needed. So we just ask everybody to please be patient and alert during this time. And we're in spring. With spring means storms. So we want to just make sure again that everybody has at least one weather app on their phone to help alert them for incoming weather. We do have outdoor sirens throughout the village, but remember those sirens are for that outdoors. So don't rely on those to be able to hear inside your homes. An app on your phone really is the best bet. And for our police department, just want to say if you see our police coming through the neighborhood, please wave, say hi, thank them for their service. And to go along with thanking them for our service, wanted to put this out here as a reminder. Mark your calendars for Saturday, May 20th from 11 to 3 p.m. at Fireman's Park. That will be our lead for Monee, and that is Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. So it's a great day to come out and show your support for our police department, tell them thank you, and get to know them. End of report.
Great, thank you very much. Moving on to the attorney's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few items for the board's consideration. The first item is the fiscal year 2024 budget. I know we've discussed it quite a few times. It's up for the board's review and consideration.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Henson.
Yes.
Trustee Rakis.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Udris.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. The next item is the appropriation ordinance for May 1st, 2023 to April 30th, 2024. We held the public hearing pursuant to state law. Now is the time to take appropriate action to pass this ordinance.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Rakis.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Udris.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Henson.
Yes.
2028.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is Crow's Head, Cooperage, Mr. Buckmeyer. I believe he's come in a few times about his project. He has asked us for a redevelopment agreement. He has incurred some TIF cost in the amount of, right now, I think, $23,630. But tonight would be, if the board deemed appropriate, authorization to draft a redevelopment agreement by and between the Village of Monee and Crow's Head. It'd probably be pretty similar to Eat the Bone. It's not going to be payment after payment, but we do need the agreement if the board thought it would be appropriate.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion on this?
And I'm glad that we're able to do this, too. I know that he's come, and presented fabulous ideas to us over the last year and a half now, too, and I'm glad that he's able to keep moving forward with this project. I think it's going to be a pretty special place.
I think it'll be real special, and then I think it's going to do nothing but get bigger over the time, and with the Cooperage and everything involved eventually. I think it'll be a good place for people to come and visit Monee.
Yeah, definitely. Turn it into a destination spot for the village. So I think that he has a lot of potential. Excited about he's revamped his whole marketing strategy there, and along with his program. So he went from barrels to buckets. So that's creative.
Start
There's
small.
a will.
Start small.
Yeah, there's a will, there's a way. So I mean, if you haven't had a chance to look online to see his current renovations, do so. I highly encourage you to do so, because he's doing a lot. He's putting a lot of work into that. He's putting a lot of effort, and it's coming out pretty nice. And I can't wait till the final product for this stage of it. So looking forward to it.
All right. Roll call, please.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item is authority to draft a pre-annexation agreement with Turning Point Energies. The board recalls this is a gentleman who came into the last board meeting, made a presentation about solar energy and benefits and potential cost. But this would just be a pre-annexation agreement, and it would have escape clauses in there. So if it didn't work out for whatever reason, from their side or our side, both parties could nullify the agreement. But this would be the first step to take a look at it.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
The only discussion that I see is we still have a whole lot to look into here, a bunch. So just reiterating what Larry said, this is just a preliminary to where we could opt out, or they could opt out, or whomever could. This is just to enter in and get our information before doing this, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I would say, too, that we probably have more questions than answers at this one, too, so we need to dig a whole lot deeper in this one.
The only concern, I think it's a win-win for us as currently constructed, but, if those state and federal subsidies go away, it seems to me that the whole concept is unsustainable. So my question would be, if they decided to pull out of town, let's put it that way, what happens to the equipment on the property? Would it be that they leave it, or would they have to disassemble it?
They take it. They take everything. Yeah, they take everything. They restore it back to what it originally was.
Okay. Very good, thank you.
And I also agree that there's still a whole lot of questions. I know we had an extensive conversation at a previous board meeting, but for me, that left far more questions that I have for it. So, I mean, I'm okay with doing the preliminary, but before there's any final vote, and I think there's a lot more work that needs to be done on this.
I agree with that, and because I'm unsure, does this mean we cannot field any other?
We could, Trustee Rakis, we can put anything in that pre-annexation agreement. So it's similar to a letter of intent. We'll say we'll do A, B, and C, and he acknowledges, or they acknowledge it, and vice versa. So, and I don't think he even owns a property yet. He just had an option on a property. He didn't close on the property at all. So eventually, the property owners will have to come in and say, this is what they want to do, unless they sell it to this company. But it wasn't under a contract. He had an option on the property.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so then this is just this vote here is to authorize you to draft it. We then will
Yes, sir.
get the
Oh, yes.
pre-authorization,
Yes.
get to review
Oh,
it.
yeah, because as I told the mayor and Ruben, I've been involved in another deal similar to this, but it's on a private type. And after 3 days, your head's spinning. But there's a lot of questions to be asked.
Yeah, mine's spinning
Yeah,
already.
I was going to
I know.
say, there's been some spinning going on already, yeah.
So I know this is kind of off topic, but I had found there's an interesting article, two articles in Korean Chicago Business from March 13th about, this community solar project. And all I would say is it shows both sides, truly. So it bears, just keep an open mind and read both of them, but I think it fits really well into some of the questions we had already asked of, what was his name, Alex, and to just read that because it's really good food for thought.
Anything else? Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn? Yes. Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. And the last item for the board's consideration, if the board recalls, we put these 4 lots out for bid. The successful bidder was JCP Carpentry. They were bidding $100,000 combined for the 4 lots. Therefore, we do need a motion authorizing the mayor to execute the contracts on behalf of the Village of Monee.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Any unfinished business, anybody?
I do have a question real quick. Do we, I guess I would ask Trustee Udris, do we have any idea, the crosswalk and the flashing lights, anything, any update on that?
In terms of the crosswalk and stuff to actually go down on the road, last I talked to Ed, he was looking at springtime for that. So
Okay.
I think that's, coming up in the next couple of months, weather dependent.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any new business? Open to the public, non-agenda items. All right. Next on the agenda, we will be going into executive session this evening for items number 1, 5 ILCS 120/2, C5, consideration of sale of real estate with the PIN number 2114211000170000. And then item number 2, 5 ILCS 120/2C6, setting the price for property for a redevelopment agreement. So if I may please have a motion to go into executive session.
Make that motion, Mayor.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn? Yes. Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
7:43.
Okay, may I please have a motion to reopen regular
I'll
session?
make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Okay. Item O, possible action to be taken following executive session. Action would be to authorize Bill Barnes to request from TSC a contract for sale of real estate with the PIN number 2114211000170000.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Second. Third.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Gonzalez?
Yes.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Udris?
Yes.
Thank you. And may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Horn?
Yes.
Trustee Henson?
Yes.
Trustee Rakis?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson? Trustee Udrus?
Yes.
Trustee Horn? Trustee Gonzalez, sorry. And it is 8:33 PM.